Welcome to Munchin with Mojo. And this one's about Wonderfully Made. So my lovely lady off screen will ask the questions, and I on screen will answer the questions. I'm gonna turn this up just this bitch, just in case I start talking quietly. Okay, shoot, fire.
So tell us about Wonderfully Made.
Wonderfully Made is some stupid film I made about a Bible verse that I like.
What about first?
Crap. Crap. Hold on. I don't actually know where it is, but I know the words, okay? It's you're fearfully and wonderfully made. Right? Fearfully meaning like made with reverence and wonderfully made. And the idea behind it is that a lot of times things happen and you believe false things about yourself, and it's important to remember that the Bible tells you that you are fearfully and wonderfully made. And as my lovely assistants has shown me, Psalms 139:14, in the only book of the Bible which has more than 100 chapters. I had to pick the hardest one, so I'll just read it for you, or I mean recite it from memory for you. I praise you because I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Your works are wonderful. I know that well. Why does he know it well? Because he knows himself. Ooh, he says himself is wonderful. No. But the idea is that you are made wonderfully. So I want to make a film around that Bible verse so I can do this whole like D for Darius thing. Next question.
So
It's delicious.
thank you. Tell me about the location that you used. Was it hard to find a location?
Wasn't particularly difficult. We decided to use our mother-in-law's, my mother-in-law location, and because it happened to be the room of the main actress, and her room is very pink and very girly, and we figured, this is great for what we want to go for, which is the girly pink room. But on a character that's not actually, maybe not as girly as may appear, or not as confident in their looks, or should I say insecure in their looks, which is a very girly thing in my opinion. But it doesn't have to be just girly. It's guys too, guys. It's guys too. So that's why we were there. I think it looks nice. Yeah.
Did you have any personal attachment to the story?
Yeah. I know this girl who was suicidal, and I think she was cutting herself, and it was and I think it's part of like your whole like I think a lot of people think philosophy is like this like BS thing that's in the clouds up there somewhere, and like this dumb BS philosophy thing never will affect you in your real life ever, and you don't have to worry about it, right? And I think that's the type of stuff that once you ignore the philosophy of what you actually believe, you start working by that philosophy, whether you know it or not. And what type of philosophy would you have to make you? No, no, this is the topic. This is exactly the question. This is exactly the question. What type of philosophy would you have to make you suicidal? To make you want to kill yourself? To make you think you're not worth anything? To make you uh, think that you should damage yourself, right? To make you insecure as well, right? What is the underlying philosophy that is convincing you that you are not worthy, that you're not beautiful, that you should be damaging yourself, right? And I like to combat that with a different philosophy. Now, the constriction that I made on this film for myself personally was that it had to be like a minute and one actor and one location. So with all the constrictions, um, that's how I decided to fight this philosophy. It was just one Bible verse, and 1 minute, right? But you can see at one point she's working under this philosophy of all these dating tips and all these dating magazines and how they should affect her life and how she thinks she has to change and do all this to be beautiful. And then later she realizes a different philosophy, right? Like these two philosophies are fighting, and this different philosophy which is on her wall, which says you are fearfully and wonderfully made. And when those two philosophies are fighting, it's which one do you believe in changes what you do. And when she sees that she's fearfully and wonderfully made, she's like, oh, well, shoot, I'm good enough. But when she doesn't believe she's fearfully and wonderfully made, when she believes more in the dating tips and the philosophy of the world, it's, oh, I'm not good enough. That lies the inner tension of my 1 minute, one actor, one location. So it's so deep for 1 minute. But yeah, that's what I was trying to tap into. But it's only 1 minute, so you can only go so far. But that's what I was trying to tap into with that powers.
So, what is the message that you would like to say with this film? What do you want to tell people who watch this film?
Read your Bible, you idiots. I think that's really the message. You're fearfully and wonderfully made. And if you listen to how the rest of the world says you should live your life, you may think that you're not very fearfully and wonderfully made. And if you listen to how the Bible tells you you are, you may come to the conclusion that you are fearfully and wonderfully made. And maybe that seems kind of simple, but when there's little girls out here cutting themselves and getting suicidal, I think it's these simple things that you kind of need to check on. So I hope all the audience members realize that they are fearfully and wonderfully made, like these cookies, but better.
So, going more to the technical aspect of the film, what was the most difficult part of shooting this film?
Most difficult part of shooting this film. Hmm. I'm tempted to go really stupid with this, but I'm going to try to do a really specific thing. Maybe it's not the thing anyone cares about but me, but whatever. So sometimes in a script you have something that's really simple, and in your mind you know it's really simple, and then when you describe it, it's super simple. And then
What was
when
a part of
you,
the script?
huh?
What was a part of the script?
The simpler part of the script was her laying down, sitting up, and leaving the room. Right, that's it. She lays down, she gets her phone, she sits up to read her phone, she's shocked by what is on her phone, and she leaves. Like the frame, that's it. Right? And that's one of those things that are so small and simple that you kind of look over it. But shot listing, and then we didn't really storyboard it because it's just her sitting up. And then shooting it, we realized that it's just a weird edit. It's just a weird framing. It's just a weird cut. So, I mean, even editing it, honestly, I don't even know if I really got that way I really like it. I don't know. It was definitely the oddly difficult part of this thing. Like just because it's like the rhythm of, you know, and it's so weird to say that because it's such a small thing that you can completely ignore it, and it seems to have no effect on the film, in my opinion. But it's it's something that I know that in the future I would like to get correct because I know the longer the film, the more scenes that are just oddly cut like that because they were oddly shot, um, the bigger effect it has on the viewers. So 1 minute, it's not even 10 seconds, okay, fine. But, 10 minutes and you get a minute of goofy editing, ugh, right? An hour, and you get 10 minutes of goofy editing, ugh, right? You don't want that. So you really have to shore up your foundations, your basics for bigger films. That's what I'm really trying to. That's what I feel like I learned from this one is to really make sure I get that right next time.
So, what was the least difficult part of shooting this film?
I don't know. I don't know. What was the least difficult part? I never had that question before.
Which part went surprisingly well? Like it required almost no effort.
I guess I'll just expand this to the pre-production then, just so I can actually have an answer. I wasn't expecting the actor to just accept so quickly, so
Okay,
that's it. You know, production kind of sucks.
Why weren't
always.
you? What made the production suck?
Oh, well, all productions are tough. I mean, they all have their issues, right? But I mean, when we got there, our baby was just crying. Normally, my baby loves to hang out with her grandma, but she was crying the whole time. So my director, my lovely director, had me downstairs with the baby most of the time while I'm like production designing and setting up the room and stuff. And it makes me think like that little editing issue that I noticed earlier probably could have resolved if we had more time just to look at that. But you know, instead there was a whole issue offset that was taking the director completely offset, and then that took up so much time it made everything else kind of crunch. So I don't know. There was a lot of it's weird that I took shortcuts on a 1 minute film. I hate saying that. It sounds so like lazy, but there was like odd shortcuts taken, I guess.
What kind of shortcuts?
Like I mean, the lighting. I just put the lights in the corner. I wanted the lights. I think I wanted lights higher. Whatever. My lighting design I just simplified even more. And so that was two lights bouncing off of a whiteboard, so that was like nice and clean. But I think I originally wanted both on the other side, and then maybe like something going through the window, so like it's evening, so like something is like a window accent light just coming through and hitting her on the bed. That's in the background for the whole shot, so that on the montage, every montage shot, that light can be slightly different to show the passing of time. Um, to magnify that effect of like you're running out of time, you know, like that light actually leaves the room, like it's like nighttime, like oh my gosh, you're out of time, you know. But I scrapped that because you know it took an extra hour or 2 hours to start. So I was like, okay, well I'll just use the soft lighting, you know, and I feel like the soft lighting was still fine, right? But whatever. We never got a border around the painting, the little canvas thing. It didn't bother me when I was there, but it bothered me a lot more in editing. I'm like, that's just like I put a paper on the wall. Kind of just looks like that. I kind of like the border thing, only because it's white. Maybe if it was black, like this painting is above my head. If it was black, I feel like you would have naturally seen the border, or you would have felt the border. But the fact that it was white made the lack of a border more noticeable. Right? It looks like a piece of paper. When it's not, it was a little more than just like a piece of paper, but it feels like a piece of paper because it's white. You know, even if it's black, it probably wouldn't feel like a piece of paper, even if it still is. But so there's this weird stripper scene on Family Guy right now. Find the camera. So you know, thanks a lot, Family Guy. You make quality shows, and you're totally right about Donald Trump or whatever. You're totally right. You're just a cartoon. You have no effect on people's choices. What am I talking about, third boy?
So getting back on topic.
Yes, thank you, Jesus. Hallelujah.
What is something? Okay, you made the film. You posted it. If you had a chance to reshoot this film again, what would you do differently? If you would do anything differently at all.
I get a babysitter. Who knew? You know, babies on a film shoot? How could that go wrong?
That's funny because I read
Was it
once
like
that
2
you were
months old?
constantly asking your wife to visit you on film shoots with the baby. Like it's just some easy thing to do.
Was I?
Yes. Well, me, when I was like pregnant, you always say, "Oh, just come to the film shoot."
Oh, when you were pregnant.
I'll just
Well,
come
that's
to that.
different. You're still an adult.
I got needs too.
You have needs.
I get bored. I want attention.
You sit in one corner crying. But hold on, guys. Cut. Gotta deal with this thing with my wife real quick. Who's a good wife? Who's a good... Wait. Dogs? I don't know. What is the difference between dogs and a baby?
Dog on the floor.
Baby poop on your hand. There it is. Yes. I know the real difference though. I'll kiss one. I won't kiss the other. And for those of you who kiss dogs, you know,
Gross.
you're gross. The Bible says don't lay with an animal. You got some problems. Okay, we need to talk about this later. Okay, I don't know why you kissing your dogs, right? But I just don't think you do that. Anyway, I
So
guess.
what about filming wise? Was there anything different, like equipment, lighting setups, different shots you would make?
Well, I mean, I mentioned the lighting thing. I think editing, I'd probably try to bring out the pink more, maybe more color design or color correction or whatever, so that it would be a little pinkish. I feel like it looked a little orangey. Um, Maybe I would take it off the lights from the mirror. I like them. I like that. I like them that they came on or whatever. But I feel like altogether they didn't add much to it. Um, yeah, my eyes are going crazy, but they didn't add much. So I kind of wish I didn't do them as much. Uh, yeah, but I don't want to make it seem like it was a horrible film. Honestly, I know I make it sound like that all the time whenever I talk about a film, but uh, I'm always seeing like little corrections I should have done or whatever. And I think ultimately this was, when you think of the purpose for your thing, and ultimately it was good. So I'm getting back into the thing. Whatever. Great.
So do you think this film was successful? And what tells you whether or not it was successful?
Well, I think my goal for this film was something around. Well, I actually have the releasing goals, right? One, to create it and to release it somewhere and put it online, right? I successfully accomplished those goals. Um, I guess make a Christian film, accomplish that goal as well. And then that I want to shoot something with my wife. I did that, and I was trying to use that as a way to build momentum to actually start making more things again. I think I'm successful with that. I don't know. I feel like literally the church anniversary stuff made me more successful doing that than this film did. So I don't know if I would count that, give this one film the credit. But it has kept the ball rolling on my momentum, so it's good that way. So that's like what, 3 out of 4 or 4 out of 5? 4.5 out of 5. So I think I was successful for what I was going for this film. I hit 4.5 of my 5 goals.
So from beginning to end, concept to posting, what were your roles in this film?
I was the executive producer. We didn't spend any money. I was the yeah, the really good executive producer, by the way. No money was spent. The budget was tight. Um, I guess I was one of the producers. I don't think I would give myself a writing credit. I was the DP. I guess I was a camera operator. I was a gaffer. I think I did a couple storyboards for fun.
Did you do any lighting plans?
I did lighting plans. Uh, that's kind of part of DP and gaffer. Key grip. I mean, honestly, and this is advice for you, amateur filmmakers. If you're in a film and you do all the roles, right? I feel like you should pick 2 roles and put your name on that, and then let's just leave the rest out because you just look like a freaking amateur. So I know people maybe they think it looks cool to literally like have a credits list and have every position and just list your name in every position. Like don't do that. It's just
What roles would you tell them to put?
you pick whatever 2 roles you want. You get 2 roles. You can do that thing where it's like director, writer, and then put your name under that, right? Or you put your name, director, and writer, put your name again, and then put the 2 or 3 people that helped you out, right? And whatever role they want, right? But don't put your name up there 7 times. It just makes it look. You just look so amateur.
Speaking
I don't
of
know. It's
helping
stupid to
out,
me.
do you have any crew for this that you want to thank?
I want to thank my wonderful wife who wrote this film for me. Thank you very much. I want to thank the wonderful actor. Should I say her name? Am I allowed?
Yes.
Belinda. You're dope. I want to thank my baby, Azzy, for giving me an extra challenge to push through. That's what I need sometimes. I want to thank our location manager. I don't call that. My mother-in-law, which I will keep her name private because I don't know if she wants the internet to know her name. Your house was very clean, which I know is something you pride yourself on.
So it sounds like you worked a lot with family. What's it like working with family? Do you advise other filmmakers to work with family?
Yeah, work with family until you cannot work with family.
What does that mean?
Work with family until you have money or friends in the industry that you can rely upon faithfully to work with, and then work with those people instead. Because family's dope, but why don't drain the resources for no reason? I mean, the idea is to go professional, and if they're not professional, then you shouldn't be constantly working with them or going to that well. I mean, get professional. Eventually,
What was it like in your personal experience working with family?
it was dope.
What was dope about working with your family?
Um, yeah, no, I mean, it give me more excuse to talk to them, and see them, and hang out with them, and love on my wife and love my baby more. And it was pretty cool, because like film shoots are like you hang out with someone for a longer period of time, and you're like doing this thing, you accomplish it, and then you show it to them, right? And it's like you hang out with anyone for a pretty long period of time, and you get closer to them. So I feel like I'm a little closer to Belinda, because of that, and maybe not uh, the location manager as much because she was downstairs when I was upstairs. But doing things with people makes you closer to them. So it's nice to be close to your family. It's nice to be close to your family. So yeah.
So, is there any final words that you would like to say to anyone watching this and who watched the film?
If you're in a place where you don't know what fearfully and wonderfully made means, and you have a bad opinion of yourself, and you think and you hate yourself, and you think other people hate you, and you think other people don't like you, and you're insecure, I want to remind you that God made you. God formed you with His hands. Everything else He spoke, but He formed you. He made you in His image, and then He values you. And sometimes you're like, how do you measure how much you're worth, right? Your value, and you like look on Instagram, you post a picture of yourself, and you get like 100 likes, and you're like, okay, well I'm that worthy, and like Kim Kardashian gets 1 million, so clearly she's worth more. Or maybe you're like on Twitter, you have a funny comment or some bullcrap like that, and then you're like, okay, well I got 10 retweets or something, I don't know. And you're like, okay, well that's how worthy I am. Or you tell a joke in public and such many people laugh. That's how worthy you think you are, right? I want to tell you that all that crap is BS. Because there is a measurement above that which should tell you how worthy you are, which is kind of like what would someone do for you, and not just anyone, but the one who created you. And the God who created you thinks you're so worthy, you're so valuable, that He came down here and died on the cross for you. He lived the life you should have lived and died the death you should have died, so that you could possibly choose to have a relationship with Him. That's how worthy you are. That He paid that big of a price so that you could possibly choose Him. So screw these hoes. God loves you.
That is great.
Bye. You want some egg? That was Munchin with Mojo. So let's stop this recording.